What's up, y'all? How y'all been? I know it's been a couple of weeks. I've been crazy busy, but I just turned on the camera because I want to talk to everybody, especially my fellow black men, about mental health and therapy, and why I feel like therapy is very important. And I apologize if y'all hear the beeping sound. I need to change my smoke detector. Don't judge me. So, I come from a very chaotic childhood. Crazy childhood. Um I'm actually writing a book right now, and everything I went through with my family and my childhood, I'm putting it in a book. I genuinely don't know when the book is going to be done. I'm praying that I could be done with it in the next couple of months. But I realized I lost a parent very young. I had a very abusive parent, mentally, physically, all that kind of stuff. And there's so much trauma I had from childhood. And, being black and being a black man, you hear about therapy and all that stuff, especially back in the day. And I was like, man, I ain't crazy. I ain't doing no damn therapy. You know what I mean? I was like, man, whatever. And I just had so much built up anger. Um, I didn't really trust people like that. I was kind of cold to people in certain instances. And I remember I was talking to a young lady at the time, and we was on the phone. And she told me, we was having a little argument, and she was like, you know, I think you should maybe get some therapy. And then she's like, I think you got like some mommy issues and whatever like that. So I got immediately offended. I was like, what? How dare you tell me something like that? And then, like I said, within the last couple of years, like right before the pandemic, the mental health conversation was coming to the surface. And again, I was like, therapy ain't for me. That ain't my thing. I don't need therapy, you know. And I remember it was a corporate job I was working at the time. And surprisingly, it was a group of us talking. We were all black in our late 20s and, 30s. And we were all talking. And I remember the conversation of mental health came up. And I was shocked that so many people in my age bracket were going to therapy. Like at least two people in the group had confirmed that they were on like medication for their like mood swings and mentals. And I was like, not gonna lie, I'm in the conversation kind of judging them like, these crazy motherfuckers I'm working with, like, damn. But that conversation planted a seed in my mind. And at that time, this was like 2019. This was before the pandemic. I was going through so much stuff, man. My life was at such a crossroads. I was dealing with so much. And I distinctly remember saying, man, I want to try therapy just to see. The pandemic happened. Um, in full transparency, I actually really liked probably the first 3 to 4 months of the pandemic. You know what I mean? It was a time to have some isolation. It was a time to, you know, really reevaluate myself. And then I remember it was a cat that I was working with. He was a big proponent of therapy. This dude, he even was um, telling us a story that he was in therapy like several times a week, and he had said one time he couldn't get, because he had come from, him and I had shared similar experiences that, we just came from like very chaotic backgrounds with our families and parents and stuff like that. And I remember him telling me something like, well, telling the group something like, he was having an episode and his therapist didn't have any availability or something like that. And he said his mind was so like fucked up that he literally like just like walked into the therapist's office and was like, yo, I need to be seen. Like for real, please make some time to see me today. And again, the old me, I was judging Buddy like his crazy ass nigga. Like I don't know how people need therapy and all that stuff like that. But again, in the middle of the pandemic, um, we were isolated. People were dealing with health issues. People were dealing with loss of lives. And I started thinking, like, man, maybe I should give therapy a try. Let me give therapy a try. So I started just doing a whole bunch of research on, like, how to start therapy, what to look for, da da da. So I had reached out to my coworker, the guy I was telling you all about. And I was just like, hey, bro, like, how do you, like, find a therapist? And he broke it down to me, and he was like, look, he gave me a website, and he said, look, pop in your zip code, um, read read the background on the therapist, and see if they align with what you're looking for. And I think because I don't have a good relationship with my mother, I've always been naturally gravitated towards older black women. And my dad died when I was super young. So, but like, it's something about like, I guess like a motherly figure, I guess. I was always the dude at work that like the older black lady at the job. I'd be like, I'd be like their work son. Like I have so many work moms. Like every job I've had, I'll always be like, Miss Mary, come give me a hug. Oh, y'all, I'm bringing some food for Miss Mary. Like I'm that guy. Like you know what I mean. Like older black women, I just gravitate to. Like I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I gotta protect older black women. I don't know why. So I started doing research, and I was like, okay, I'll give therapy a try. And in the company I was with at the time, they was actually like encouraging us, like, hey, we want y'all to go ahead and like it was a app with therapists. I think it was named Ginger or something. They was just encouraging, like because mental health was crazy during the pandemic. And I finally was like, okay, let me start researching therapists. And I knew I didn't want anybody in my age range. I really wanted somebody older, like an older, distinguished black woman or a black man. So, not judging my fellow millennials or like, I just was like, I don't want no therapist, no 20 or 30 something year old therapist. I need somebody like not even 40 something is too young, like 50, 60, somebody who, who's lived some life to give me some wisdom, you know what I mean? So I did some research. It was like, I narrowed it down to 3 therapists. And it was this one black man. He was it was my top two was this black man was my number one, and then this black woman was my number two. So then they had on their profile how to contact them and so forth. So I had reached out to the black man first, and I had sent a message. And during the pandemic, I had rediscovered my love of hiking. And again, y'all, apologies for my smoke detector. I gotta change it soon. So when I was hiking, the therapist called me, and like I'm like walking up this mountain. So he was like, "Hello, Mr. So and so," and I was like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Oh, I got your message. Like, how can I help you?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I want to give therapy a try, you know, da 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 da." And I was like, "Well, sir, I'm actually hiking right now." And then he's like, "Okay, but like, can you give me a rundown, like what you're going da da da?" And it didn't feel personal. It felt very transactional. You know what I mean? And he was just like, "Okay, okay, well, just call me on Monday, and then let's try to set everything up." I said, "Okay." So I did call him on Monday. I left a message, and I think him and I played like phone tag for like a few days. So then I just finally reached out to the second lady. The first time I reached out to her, um, I got an email bounce back. I got an email bounce back. And honestly, at that moment, I was like, well, therapy just isn't for me. I like the first guy, it didn't work out. And then the second lady who I was reaching out to, it didn't work out. And then I think the third lady on my list, if I'm not mistaken, I think she wasn't taking any new clients or something like that. So I just had made up in my mind like therapy just isn't for me. You know what I mean? I was like, it just isn't for me. And a few months later, I don't know what it is. Something inside of me just was telling me, like, yo, reach out to the second therapist again. Like, reach out, like something. And whenever something's on my spirit, like, yo, reach out, reach out. I was like, why am I having this desire to reach out? So I said, all right, screw it, fuck it. So I went back and I emailed her again. The next day, she called me. Cause you gotta send an email and it's like a little auto form, like your name, your contact information, whatever. And then she called me and then she's like, "Hey, got your email." She's like, "Sure, let's set something up." And we set something up. Initially, I thought I was gonna have to like go in to her office. So I'm like mentally like getting myself like, damn, I gotta go sit down on the couch and lay down on the couch or whatever. And she was like, oh no, she said, because of the pandemic, I'm not doing in office visits anymore. She like, I'm actually doing everything virtual. We do it on Zoom. So I was like, okay, cool. And I'm not gonna lie, I went to therapy maybe close to a year. And therapy definitely changed my life. You know what I mean? I haven't been in a minute, and I'm definitely trying to um, set myself back up to go. Because when you come from such trauma and chaos, what my therapist told me, you have like two types of people. When you come from like trauma and chaos, you have the people who repeat that cycle. So then they become mean and they, become people who do wrong to other people because it's been wrong to them. Then you have people who run around with like a healer complex. They're trying to save everybody. They're trying to help everybody. And I've definitely been the healer, you know? Sometimes I couldn't understand why I'm so good to other people and I get shitted on. Like I look out for people, go out of my way for other people, and it's not reciprocated. And then after you get betrayed and done wrong, so many times, you just stop fucking with people overall. So going to therapy, she broke everything down for me. You know? I'm not even a big fan of like really telling like friends all my business like that because friends will fuck around and throw shit back in your face. People will go around and tell your business. It's just also I really and truly people know me, but they don't really know me. Like rarely people know my business. Like I kind of like maybe like one hand, if that. Like a two, maybe two and a half fingers. People that truly know me that I like opened up to, and with a therapist, my former therapist, she was the first person that in a long time I just pretty much let it all out. Told her everything, every intimate detail of some of the abusive stuff I went through in my childhood and all this stuff. And I remember, and like I said, my book is coming, y'all. My book, I'm about to put like all of this in a book. But I remember her pretty much telling me like, you know, I apologize on behalf of your family. And I didn't understand that. And my therapist was like, I'm validating your feelings. What you went through, you was wrong. Not you was wrong, I apologize. What you went through, they were wrong. What they did to you was wrong. You shouldn't have went through all of that. They shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have said this. They shouldn't have said that. And I think that has been like the major issue with me and my family because my family is just, we're so disconnected. So much chaos and so much drama that the type of person I am, I just remove myself from the equation. I don't really operate well in chaos. You know what I mean? A few years ago, I had seen a meme or something. And they were pretty much, the meme was like, when you get to becoming an adult, you realize how people truly are in your family, and you see why you have that one uncle or that one auntie who never come around anymore. And now that I'm older, I'm that uncle. I feel like a family like mine where there's so much drama, so much deceit, so much just crazy shit, and people operate in that, I don't like that shit. And I was reading a study about like the black sheep of the family, in which typically the black sheep of the family is the person who calls shit out all the time. I'm the youngest by far. Like my siblings are like significantly older than me. And my parents had me at an older age. So I was pretty much like an only child for the most part. But I just didn't tolerate disrespect. You know what I mean? And I would call stuff out. And I would be like, yo, this is wrong. This is wrong. Y'all, like, and my family wasn't with it. My family was always like, oh, you always gotta live in the past and da 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 da. We still family, even though this was done to you, you gotta get over it. And I was like, no, this person was wrong. They need to apologize. This person was wrong. I ain't fucking with them. And I'm just not one of those people that you know, operate with disrespect and, fake shit. So no, I'll be quite blunt with you. I just don't fuck with my family like that. And it was a place of insecurity for me for a while. But now I don't give a fuck. I just don't fuck with my family like that. And my family is very aware of what they do. And because I'm someone who calls it out and I tell them like, look, I'm not doing this. I'm not sitting on the phone talking about this family member. This family member did this. Okay, did this is this family member going to be accountable for this? Is this family member going to apologize? Is this family member going to apologize and have changed behavior? If not, okay. Okay, well, you did this and this hurt my feelings. When are you going to take accountability? And then you just have a lot of people who don't really want to hold themselves accountable. My therapist told me something as well. She told me, guess what, 2 times of the year my practice is the most full? And I said, like, I know holiday, like, season of depression is real. And she said, yes, but specifically, like, what holidays or what time on the holidays? And she told me before the holidays and after the holidays are the 2 times she is booked solid. And I was curious. I was like, why is that? She said people who have done so much work on themselves throughout the 10, 11 months out of the year, when you're going back to those traumatic families where you had, people who have been molested, abused, talked about, treated badly, whatever, and they having to be around these family members for this extended period of time for the holidays, it re-triggers stuff in them. She said, my former therapist said she had even encouraged people like, why are you going back home for Thanksgiving? Your family treated you like crap. This was not right. That was not right. You are going to put yourself in a bad mental place. And she said a lot of people, especially us black people, still had the mindset of, that's still my family. I have to go back. And then after they go back, they're re-traumatized because they're now having to eat turkey across the uncle that touched them, or against the abusive mother that doesn't want to hold herself accountable, or the alcoholic father that hasn't changed. So they're re-triggered, and then now they go back home and now they're a mess. So I think sometimes in life, you got to understand that there's a difference between family and there's a difference between family and relatives. So you have family and you have relatives. Relatives is, it's genetics. It's literally science, is blood, and all that stuff. With family is who you choose, who you chose to be in your life. And I hate to say it, sometimes you do have to say fuck the family. In life, and this is just a little bit of things I have in the book. Sometimes there's a big old tree in your yard. And this tree is rotten. It's not really producing. And then they might have a branch of a tree with some fruit. And that branch might get a strong wind. And it breaks off and flies to another part. And then the seeds from that broken tree branch drop on the ground. And they sprout out a new healthy tree. Sometimes in life you got to do that. You got to cut yourself off from that rotten tree that might be your family and start anew. And I feel like so many black men, we are walking around like ticking time bombs. We don't have anybody to talk to. That's why you have black men doing drugs, committing crimes, walking around angry, doing so much stuff in the dark and not being their authentic selves. And I want to be a voice for that. I think Charlemagne the God, shout out to him for putting the conversation of mental health in, out in the world more, because there's a lot of young brothers and sisters just killing themselves because life is hard. They don't have nobody to talk to, And while I get it, like, I believe in God, and I don't actively go to church like that. I'm not somebody who goes to church every Sunday, but and yet church is great too. But you can't pray everything away. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you genuinely have to seek additional help. You have to find a therapist. You might have to get on medication, whatever the case may be. And don't be ashamed of that. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody demonize you to make you feel that because you have to elevate your mental health, that something is wrong with you. I'm here to tell anybody who sees this video, if you made it this far, go ahead and get you some therapy. If you are dealing with some stuff and you're at a low point, because shoot, at this point in my life, I'm going to make a new video about that. I'm dealing with some stuff right now. And that's why I'm thinking about getting back into therapy. But especially to my black men, my fellow black men, this is the video. This is the message. If you see this, go get you some therapy, bro. My sisters, you don't got to walk around angry all day. If you feeling type of way, go get you some therapy. Okay? All right. If you guys need some help or ideas on how to find a therapist and stuff, you guys can email me. I'll leave my email in the description below. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. So, I love y'all. Please don't make permanent decisions for temporary problems. You'll get through it. Black women, you are beautiful. Black brothers, you are beautiful. Anybody else, you are beautiful. We need you. I want you here. You matter. All right? It's your boy GIP. Peace.